Hey everyone, welcome back to Story Hive. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an update. Let's jump into today's story. My mom neglected me and ditched me for her new family, so I decided to ditch her as well. For context, I'm a 19-year-old male. My mom had me when she was just 17, and my dad was 19 at the time. My dad has been in prison for the majority of my life due to nonviolent substance charges. When I was 10, my mom got married to my stepdad. Just to clarify, my mom and dad were never married. They dated each other and eventually hooked up. My problems with my mom began when she got pregnant with my sister. After having my sister, she became pregnant again and had my brother. At that point, I felt like a ghost, as she hardly paid any attention to me. I experienced emotional neglect and felt unwanted in her life. It seemed like I didn't matter anymore. As I grew up, I continued to try to engage with her, but she was always busy with family activities involving my brother and sister. I consistently felt excluded. It was always my stepdad, mom, and my siblings. Except for me, I felt like I wasn't part of the family. This led me to conclude that my mom either hated or disliked me. One day, my mom came into my room all dressed up and racing around. I asked if she was going somewhere, but she said no. So I went back to playing on my computer. No more than 15 minutes later, I heard the garage door start going up. I raced downstairs and saw my mom stepdad and both my siblings dressed up. I was left standing outside, feeling very uncomfortable. The look she gave me as she jumped into the truck made me feel like I was interrupting her. There were no apologies, just a look of absolute disgust. I don't cry very easily, but something about the situation really got to me. I went back inside and cried a bit, but then I got over it because it wasn't the first time this had happened. She texted me 10 minutes later, saying they were just going to the park. I didn't respond because I knew it would only upset me further. When they got home, I was eating dinner, and my 9-year-old sister rushed in after my mom, excited to tell me about everything they had done. They hadn't gone to the park. My mom had lied to me. They had actually gone to the arcade, gotten milkshakes, and gone shopping. I was visibly crushed by this, and my little sister noticed. I could tell my mom was about to make excuses and blame me. To keep my siblings from seeing that, I quietly excused myself to my room. I felt a profound pain at that moment. I had been trying so hard to be a good son despite my mother's selfishness and chaotic ways. Realizing that this wasn't normal, I began questioning our relationship. Without seeing a safe way out that didn't involve ending up on the streets, I made a spur-of-the-moment decision to join the army. It was the first decision I had made on my own, and my mom still doesn't know. I'm excited for basic training soon. Update 1. Not much has happened since my last post. I've been busy moving my stuff out. You all advised me not to tell my mom about leaving, but it was challenging because my sister is very outspoken. Everything she hears and sees, she shares. So I told her that I'd be leaving for a job that I was offered and would tell my mom the same if she asked. My mom didn't see me moving my stuff out, but she did notice some of my things missing and asked about them. I told her I sold some items to make. In case you were wondering where I left my stuff, I asked a friend if I could store it at her house and she agreed. Some of you also asked why I chose the Army over the Navy, Marines, or Air Force. Well, my friend's grandpa, who was in the Army, convinced me to join. If things don't work out in the Army, I plan to consider the other branches. Update 2. Today, my biological dad called me to say he got out of prison 2 weeks ago. He's living in his parents' house, which they left to him when they passed away. I went to see him and we had a meaningful conversation. He apologized for not being there for me. I told him that if he's truly sorry, he should make up for it by being there for me now. He promised to try his best and mentioned he got a job in construction. I told him I was going to the Army and he broke down in tears, telling me he was proud of me. I couldn't help but cry as well, and we sat there crying together for a while. I told him that because he hasn't been there all my life, I'm not going to call him Dad just because he's my biological father. I'll call him by his name, and if he wants me to call him Dad, he has to earn it. He accepted that. I plan to return tomorrow and spend some time with him after he gets off work. Update 3. Hello everyone. This will be my last post for a while. I'm currently at my biological father's house ready to leave any minute now. My mom doesn't know I'm leaving for the army. The only thing she knows is that I moved out and am staying with my biological father. I left a note detailing how she has treated me, except for the fact that I'm going to the army. I'll call an Uber to the station where I'll be picked up by a bus and then taken to the army. I also want to share that I forgave my biological dad for not being there for me. However, I told him that just because I forgave him doesn't mean I'll call him Dad. He has to earn it, so I started calling him by his first name, Matthew. Yes, that's his real name. I could see it in his eyes when I used his first name that it hurt him, but he accepted the consequences of not being there for me growing up. I also told him I'd give him a chance to redeem himself. I don't know if my mom has seen the letter yet, as I'm not there to see her reaction. However, I spoke with my 10-year-old sister about me moving out for a job. She was sad but asked if I would visit them. I told her yes, when I had the time. My little brother, who is only 4, is too young to understand, so I didn't tell him anything. It's been a while since I last posted. I apologize for the delay. I did go to the army and it worked out well, but I have to say those 10 weeks were absolutely brutal. It was hell. I couldn't even smile because the drill sergeant was always in my face. Anyway, back to the update. I gave my previous phone to my biological dad to give to my biological mom so she could cancel the phone service. I decided to get a new phone when I have the time to buy one. I'm doing well and haven't heard anything from my biological mom. Oh well. I've made new friends here, as some of you suggested, and it's been good. I also got my own place and have a date tomorrow. She's someone I met in the park the other day. She's a freshman in college trying to get her degree in teaching. Nothing serious right now, we're just going out as friends, trying to get to know each other. I know some of you asked for my address and state, expressing a desire to cheer for me, but I didn't feel comfortable sharing my location. Not because you're strangers, but because you have your own lives to live. I didn't want to burden you further. You've been a huge support just by showing love and confidence. Update 4. It's been a few months since I last shared my story, and a lot has happened since then. Basic training in the Army was every bit as grueling as I'd expected. There were days when it felt like my entire body was on the verge of collapse, and the mental exhaustion was almost unbearable. Despite the tough times, I made it through and found a sense of purpose and camaraderie with my fellow recruits. We supported each other through the toughest moments, and those friendships have become some of the strongest bonds I've ever had. After basic training, I was stationed at a new base, and life has started to stabilize a bit. I've been adjusting to the routine and responsibilities that come with my role. There's a lot to learn, but I'm finding my way. The discipline and structure of military life are a stark contrast to the chaos I grew up with, and while it's challenging, it feels like a positive step forward. My biological dad and I have been keeping in touch regularly. He's been working hard in construction and has been trying his best to be there for me in the ways he can. Our relationship has been slowly mending. I'm still calling him by his first name, Matthew, but there's been a noticeable shift. We've shared some honest conversations, and he's made an effort to show up for me in ways he wasn't able to before. It's not perfect, and I still need time to heal from the years of absence, but I appreciate his efforts. I haven't heard from my mom since I moved out. It's strange to think that she might never really understand why I left or how deeply her actions affected me. Part of me hoped she might reach out, but there's been nothing. The silence has been heavy, but also a relief in some ways. It's given me space to focus on myself and build a life that feels right for me. Recently, I met someone new. Her name is Emma, and she's a freshman in college majoring in education. We've been spending time together, getting to know each other, and enjoying the little things in life. It's been refreshing to share moments of normalcy and connection. We're still in the early stages of our relationship. Looking ahead, I'm feeling cautiously optimistic. The Army has given me a sense of direction and purpose, and I'm starting to carve out a path that feels right for me. I'm still figuring things out, and there are days when the weight of the past feels overwhelming, but I'm learning to manage it better. My goal is to keep moving forward, to grow from my experiences, and to build a future that reflects the strength and resilience I've gained along the way. Update 5. Life has continued to move at a fast pace since my last update. Settling into my new routine in the Army has become more manageable, though there are still days that challenge me. The constant pressure and discipline can be intense, but I'm gradually adapting to the demands. The work is physically and mentally taxing, but there's a deep satisfaction in pushing through and meeting the challenges head on. Recently, I was assigned to a new team within my unit. It's been an adjustment, learning the dynamics and getting to know my new colleagues. They've been welcoming, and it's refreshing to be part of a team that genuinely supports each other. I've found a mentor in one of the senior soldiers who's been guiding me through the intricacies of my role. It's encouraging to have someone to look up to and learn from, especially after feeling so alone for so long. Emma and I are still seeing each other. Our relationship has grown deeper as we continue to share experiences and dreams. We talk about everything: our goals, our fears, and our hopes for the future. She's been a stabilizing force in my life. We're taking things one step at a time, but there's a genuine connection that I value greatly. In the meantime, I've been keeping my distance from my mom and my old life. I've received a few messages from her asking how I'm doing and expressing a vague sense of regret, but I haven't responded. I'm still unsure of how to approach the situation, or if I should at all. I've come to terms with the fact that she may never fully understand or acknowledge the impact of her actions, and that's something I need to accept for my own peace of mind. My biological dad, Matthew, has been trying to be more involved. He's been visiting me occasionally, and we've had some meaningful conversations. I see him making an effort to be part of my life, which means a lot, even if it's still a work in progress. We've started to rebuild a relationship, albeit slowly. It's not perfect, but there's an effort on both sides to make it work. On the professional front, I'm considering taking on some additional responsibilities, or perhaps even looking into advanced training. I feel like I'm starting to find my footing and am ready to challenge myself further. It's exciting to think about the possibilities and what I might achieve in the coming months. Overall, life feels more grounded than it did before. There are still moments of doubt and days when the past feels close, but I'm learning to manage those feelings better. The Army, my relationship with Emma, and the slowly mending bond with Matthew are all contributing to a sense of stability and purpose that I hadn't felt before. It's a process, but I'm moving forward, and that's what matters most right now. Thanks for tuning in to today's Reddit story. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss out on more amazing stories. See you next time.